We've seen the biggest boom in breeders of reptiles in the history of reptile keeping, and all of you are about to go broke. Now, this isn't supposed to be a doomsday episode, it's just a little dose of realism in explaining how we got to where we are right now. Now, this is Frankie, the Fiji banded iguana. Frankie, say hello.
Hi.
In every hobby or industry, niche, whatever, there are always new trends, new morphs, new influences that bring people into the hobby. And this is a close-knit hobby. This is very unique in terms of different types of hobbies. Maybe, I don't know, if you crochet or knit or you're a comedian or a bodybuilder or whatever, this is unique because you're selling and buying animals, supplies, and media in general. But sticking with breeders, we've never seen this many breeders all at once or all in a short period of time come in together. And there's a few reasons. First of all, even before 2020 and 2018-19, even before that, we saw a huge new spurt of life and growth in this hobby because of influencers like Brian Barczyk, for example. Emily and Ed, Clint's Reptiles, all those guys, there's just more attention than ever before. And even before what we're really gonna get into, the nuts and bolts, usually when you become interested in something, a lot of the times people will try to make that hobby or interest into income. There's nothing wrong with doing this, but with reptiles, it's a slippery slope and there's a lot of things you need to consider. If you get into plants, for example, which I love plants, and you wanna start propagating plants, if your plants die or you get rid of them, nobody cares. It's not cruelty. You can't do that with animals. So jump ahead to 2020. All of a sudden, something crazy happens in the world, and now everybody is at home for long periods of time. You're not spending your money going out. You probably can't go to work. You have all this time, and a lot of you were getting assistance from the government. So you've got time and money that you never had before. Some of you sat and watched Tiger King 37 times.
I am never going to financially recover from this.
And some people got a new hobby, got into something, whether it be fitness, walking, or reptiles. And because of this big boom in reptiles, people started to Google reptiles and started to consume content like YouTube. And it's very easy on YouTube to see a Brian Barczyk, for example, nerd, Jason's Exotic Reptiles, which, thank you, this is the idea behind this video, is his video talking about a very similar subject. Anyway, you see these people on the internet and they're talking about how they're making money and a living breeding reptiles. And you think, I want that to be me. I know that this person can do it, so how come I can't do it? But this is where it becomes a difference between a passion of time and this is the new thing, novelty, you might want to say, versus an obsession. And a lot of us who started before 2020, we can tell you this is a passion. And even if you are new into this and you still have that passion, you have to obsess over something a lot of the times when there's a lot of competition in order to get ahead of everybody else and make any money. Everything I've ever been successful at, I've obsessed over. And those who obsess over their business are always going to outcompete everybody else. And yes, there is some sense of competition. Not saying you should put people down, I'm just literally promoting other breeders on this platform right now. But obsession, the actual true passion, is going to make you do all the boring and difficult work so that all the fun stuff is actually going to make you money. Because breeding reptiles is more than just pairing two reptiles together and then cutting eggs open and seeing babies and then all of a sudden magically they sell. There's branding, there's boring stuff like accounting. Can you figure out what your tax code is so that you don't get destroyed at the end of the year and you actually have made money? Doing write-offs, things like that. This all seems like, oh, well, I'll get to it when I get to it, but it can be the difference between you making money and not making money. Because if you're breeding animals, it's gonna cost you tons of money for your electric bill, for water, for bedding, if you need to go to a vet, for caging, all of that stuff costs tons and tons of money. And is that gonna be more expensive than the money you bring in at the end of the year from sales? I think we saw a lot of people jump into this who had a bad habit of just jumping in with both feet without really thinking and spending all their money on something that they didn't know they were gonna get a return on. And speaking of bad habits, if this is the year you're gonna break yours, maybe Fume can help. I've been promoting Fume for a long time now because I believe in this flavored air device. Let me be very clear. This is not a vape, this is not smoking, but it has a beautiful ergonomic design. It has a little fidget spinner on the back, which actually lets more or less air in. And what you're breathing in is all natural. You put a core inside. This one is freaking delicious. Cinnamon hearts, like, come on, like, it literally tastes just like cinnamon hearts, and it's not bad for you at all. Also, spearmint ice and black licorice are freaking amazing. Plus, this flavored air device is award winning. It really does fill the void that ditching a bad habit can leave. No batteries, no toxic flavors, no guilt. Plus, Fume continuously invests in third-party studies to ensure the safety of their products, and Fume is backed by doctors in the US. Fume has served over 300,000 customers, and you can be the next success story. And for a limited time, use my code Wickens to get a free base when you pick up the Journey Pack today. It's an all-new magnetic stand. I have it on my desk for my Fume all the time. I love it. So head to tryfume.com, that's tryfum.com, and use code Wickens or scan the QR code to get a free Fume base when you order the Journey Pack today. Thanks, Fume. Let's get back to the video. So this is why you're here. What is going to happen now, and what can you do about it? Well, we saw a huge oversaturation. So many people became breeders. There's way too many animals available in terms of how many animals are going to be bought and sold. I see ball pythons being given away for free, corn snakes, crested geckos being given away for free at expos, online. There are more I'm getting out of the hobby sales than I've ever seen at any time during my time in the reptile hobby dating back 2 decades. And that's just simply because all that time and money that we had before, we don't have anymore. Everyone's back to work, and life is way more expensive than it was 4 years ago or before that. So people don't have the time and the money. So what can you do, and what's gonna happen? Well, what's gonna happen is the big boys who have been around forever, who have the money, who have the sales, who bought the $10,000 male breeder snake and then produced a bunch of females, and they have the branding and the name, and everyone knows to go for them, and they're selling the animals. They're going to be able to hold out even if their sales have plummeted a bit or their costs have risen and their bottom line just isn't the same. They're going to have the ability to stay more than you, who is brand new. So here's what you do. Garner attention. That's it. That's basically it. All that matters in your business is sales if you are in a hard place like this. Sales is the driving force behind any business. If you're not bringing money in, it's not a business. I see so many people, I need to get an office and a facility. Have you sold anything yet? No? Well, where are you getting the money to do it? All that stuff is easy. That's the fun stuff. But are you doing the branding, the actual hard work of networking and figuring out where to go and how to get your name out there? That's what you need to do. And I think that the easiest way to do it is garnering attention. Be the best at what you do. Start on social media and learn how to create a name for yourself and get a big platform. Network with everybody else who's out there. If you see bigger breeders, network, become part of their friends. Go to reptile expos and talk to people. Wear your branding if you have a booth. Don't just have a random tablecloth with no branding on it. Make sure you have a banner and lights. If they allow you, some places do. Music, high energy. You need to be a salesman right now. When you go to reptile expos and you see that guy just sitting there, nobody's buying my reptiles. The reasons nobody's buying is they don't want to be around you. You're boring, you're cancer, get away from me. You need to have high energy. You need to be the person that everyone wants to talk to, and then you're talking people into buying your animal for somebody else's. Don't ever talk someone into buying an animal they aren't ready for. If they're at an expo and they're saying, I'm taking home a ball python today, it's your job to make sure they buy one from you. Get up in front of your table, engage people, start talking to people in these groups. When you see someone say, hey, I'm looking for a ball python, blah, 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 send them a message. Hey, I saw that you're looking for a ball python. How long have you been in the hobby for? Basically, you're a car salesman for reptiles. And I know people are gonna say, oh, this is sleazy sales. No. I'm not saying be a sleazy salesman. Only sell animals to people who wanna buy animals, who are ready for that animal, who are gonna buy it anyway. You just have to separate yourself from everybody else, because if you're a Coca-Cola or a Pepsi or a McDonald's, people are just gonna come to you even though they always advertise. You ever notice that? People who tell me, I don't need to advertise. Well, yes, you do. If McDonald's and Coke and Pepsi are, you need to as well. But they're going to get the sales. Everyone knows who they are. Nobody knows who you are. You have to set yourself apart. This is in person, sending messages, and in my opinion, social media is the biggest platform because videos like this can reach tens of thousands of people. Your posts on Instagram and TikTok and whatever else can reach hundreds of thousands or millions of people. The reason I can sell animals before they even are out of the egg is because people want to buy from the guy they watch on YouTube. And whether you think this is silly or not, it doesn't matter. The reality is it's easier to sell if people know who you are. And lastly, and probably the most important bit of advice, diversify. If you're brand new, if you're, doing ball pythons, but you also do a little bit of this, do more of the little bit of this. If you're a leopard gecko breeder and it's hard for you to sell because, there's 2 or 3 big guys, maybe you want to do African fat tails instead. I mean, if I'm telling you to change species, make sure you actually love that species. Don't just go into it for the money, obviously. But for example, leopard geckos, I sold them, but it's difficult. More difficult than it used to be because there's less buyers and more animals available. Same thing with ball pythons. So what I see at expos is the guy who's selling collared lizards, captive bred, is selling out like crazy. Fiji banded iguanas, there's a waiting list. Certain morphs of hognose snakes that nobody has, I think that one's gonna be saturated sooner than later. Maybe it's Chinese cave geckos. There's certain animals that appeal to a wide range of people, and because of social media, more people understand and know what they are. Stenodactylus is another great example. Mountain horn dragons, another great example. People who are breeding these sell quickly. So if you're watching this and thinking, is it too late for me? No. Is it too late for you to be a big ball python or leopard gecko breeder? In this economy right now, I wouldn't recommend it. It's not impossible, but it's definitely very difficult. Instead, maybe try something a little bit more unique that you actually love, that has a market and you can make money on and sells very quickly. And then if you really want to start with leopard geckos and ball pythons, diversify later. You're going to have the capital to buy the high-end stuff, and that's what's going to sell. So more or less what I'm trying to say is diversify and adapt or die. And I think a lot of small-time breeders are going to be outcompeted by the big guys. They don't have a chance in heck in figuring this out if they don't put their best foot forward and start to sell themselves and sell their business to a potential customer. Not sell like please buy my business. I mean, sell your personality. You know what I'm trying to say here, right? Anyway, it's go time. Do something or you're gonna die if you're not one of the big guys. I promise. If you like rant videos like this, let me know in the comments section below and hit the like and subscribe. I'd really appreciate it. Give me ideas for next week's video if you want to see something new. And as always, a special thanks to the Patreon crew. You guys get videos early, discounts on merch, all that and more for as little as $1 a month. I do videos on Mondays and Thursdays, so I'll see you in the next one.